Today's video is going to be about writing strong leads, also known as hooks. Many of you know it as hooks from when you were in other grades. That's what they often called it. But as you get older, we changed the name of hooks to leads because they lead in the story in a way that makes it really interesting for the reader to want to read. We want to write a writing piece that makes others want to read what we wrote. So we have to come up with a way to really grab that reader or hook that reader in so that they enjoy what they're reading. So there are many different types of leads. On this sheet right here, I'm giving you 6 different ones. Some I am not suggesting that you should use, but I do want you to know that they are types of leads. And others I think are easier to use personally than other ones. But I will explain all of them to you and then leave that up to you when you're writing your lead. So the first one that I don't think you should do actually is a dialogue lead. And a dialogue is when people are talking to each other. And here's an example of one. "Wake up," my mom shouted. I answered back groggily, "I don't want to get up." That's dialogue, okay? Yes, it often is a good way to bring in a story. And you can see on this little paper here, it says, "Climb the starved rock bluffs." You've got to be kidding. Joel's spine twinkled at the mere thought of trying to scale the sheer river bluffs in that state park. He looked at Tony square in the eye. "Somebody got killed last year trying to do that. Don't you remember?" Tony shrugged, popped a wheelie on his battered BMX, and spun in place. So this is an example of a dialogue lead. Again, that's not one that I suggest you using when you're first learning how to write leads and hooks, because dialogue is another skill that we're actually going to be focusing on next. So it's not my first choice for you, but if you want to use it, you certainly can. A good one to use is a flashback. So that's a description of a past event. "I have only slept in once, but it turned out to be the worst mistake of my life." So you're telling about something that happened before, and you're leading into the story. If you remember when you read Crash by Jerry Spinelli, "My real name is John Coogan, but everybody calls me Crash, even my parents." And then he gives the start. It started when he was a kid and he would rush around and crash into things. That's a flashback. You're telling something that happened in the past. This is a nice lead to use for your narrative fiction. Another one is a question lead. This one's pretty easy. Usually it's just a sentence. "Have you ever been late on the first day of school? Can you keep a secret?" Okay, so here you go. This one's a little longer. "Can you keep a secret?" Everybody has secrets, of course, but mine's different and it's kind of weird. Okay, so both of these are examples of question leads. There's also onomatopoeia leads, which is a sound effect. So, you could make different ring, rang the alarm sound loudly. Evan lay on his back in the dark, throwing the baseball up in a straight line and catching it in his bare hands. Thwop, thwop. That's the sound of the ball, right? So this is a long lead, but it could just be a sentence. That's fine as well. And that's another good one to use. And here's another good one to use, which is an action verb. So it's putting a lot of verbs in a sentence to make the sentence more exciting. "I jumped out of bed, raced to the closet, and threw on an outfit. School was finally out, and I was standing on a picnic table in our backyard getting ready for a great summer vacation when my mom walked up to me and ruined it." Okay, so there you go. You have a whole bunch of verbs thrown in there, lots of action words, kind of giving you like "oh, I want to read more." And that's what you want your readers to do. This last one is, I'm going to say it's the same as dialogue. It's something that is complicated to do because your exposition paragraph is actually your setting description. So if you make that setting description very, very show, don't tell, then that's another way that you can do a lead. But you can't say "the sun is shining." You'd have to say the big ball in the sky. Like you'd actually have to come up with, "This morning's puffy white clouds had dissipated and the temperature was a blistering 96 degrees. So I get to feel how hot it is and that the morning might have looked rainy, but it's not anymore." So much show, don't tell. So of these, I suggest flashback, question, onomatopoeia, and action verbs. If you look in classwork, and I'm going to show that to you right now, There's also another one here that says leads or hooks, okay? And that is a video that you can watch that gives you a little bit more information than I just did. So you have two different examples of how to write a lead. Hope this helps if you missed the day's lesson.